Okay, here we go with the recording. Now, what we have to do is we have to go to starting our live stream here on Facebook, and it's starting to go. And there we go. Preparing a live stream meeting, it says. Come on, setting up your meeting with Facebook Live. It's taking its time today. Oh, there we go. Now we're recording on Facebook. So, hello everybody. How are you? How are you? It's a Monday and it's a show that I love doing. I just love this show because we got a lot of great, wonderful people who are on the panel. So let's get into them immediately. There are some of them who have just arrived. Okay. And there's Marjorie and Scott Bodeker's here and Paula Levin and Charlene Solis. And let me see here. Oh, yes, the ever popular and well-renowned voice of many cartoon character on TV, Word Burger.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm a little hoarse today.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Now that's better.
Good. All right.
Francine Witt, hello. Hello to Len LaFrisco and, of course, Charlene Solis. And I'm sure we'll get some other people here. Yeah, maybe they just forgot we existed because we went away last week on a holiday. I thought I would try and do a show from Paris, but while I could, it was 10 o'clock at night, you know, and I'm thinking, it's a little late for us. Marjorie was passed out, already gone to bed. I was watching what TV we had to watch there, which was like British TV and French TV, which we didn't watch because I don't understand it. And they didn't have subtitles. So we were in trouble. And then let's see here. What else? Oh, yes. Let me just say, Marjorie, I think you can join in here. She's a little kind of out of the under the weather today. But anyway, we made a big mistake. Let me list the mistakes so you don't do them if you ever have to,
Someone's buzzing.
Huh?
Someone's buzzing.
Somebody's buzzing.
Okay. Anyway, a couple of mistakes we made. Number one, never go anywhere that is out of your sleeping zone, shall we say, that will give you jet lag, and then only plan the vacation for 5 days. Because the first 2 of them you're going to spend sleeping it off. Right? So that's piece of advice number one. Number two, never go to Paris in November. It's cold as hell. And Marjorie didn't bring along enough warm weather to take care of her, but she also has a temperature area where she can't go into too well. I'm fine, Let's see here. What's the other one? It's just a bad time of the year to go. Okay.
Did you fly coach or premium economy or what do you guys?
Premium economy, which is really nice,
I got to say that when we went to Italy from San Francisco, so we had a 9-hour time change. We had a lay flat seat. When I got there, I was ready to go. We got there at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. We spent the whole day doing stuff. Had no jet lag whatsoever.
Okay,
so,
let me explain. Were you in premium coach or?
No, I was in business class, so lay flat seats. Yeah.
Okay. Let me say this. That would have worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It kind of set us off and everything, but we were going to do it right anyway. Marjorie and I were both asleep right after the meal. We just closed our eyes and we went to sleep, right? I took Xanax to put me to sleep, and Marjorie, I don't know, she took heroin or something. I don't know. And we're both sleeping, dead to the world. Gonna go all the way to Paris, and then finally, when they turn the lights back on, we'll be awake and we'll have their little chintzy breakfast, and then we will be wide awake and ready to go. Well, we're sleeping for about an hour, and all of a sudden we hear through the speakers, "Is there a doctor on the plane?"
Oh no.
And all the lights
All
went
the
on.
lights go on.
Oh no.
Couldn't get back to sleep. That's why we were so out of it for 2 days.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, but
What airline was it?
a Spirit. No,
Spirit.
No, it wasn't.
it was what? United.
United. Okay.
It's a very, very nice plane. The only problem is these seats, that they have on the premium coach, which is, they're big and they're a lot of room. But what they did is they built a big kind of place to put your stuff in the middle.
Yep.
Instead of like in coach where you can take that middle thing, arm and push it up.
Yep.
You can't move this thing.
Oh.
And so when I was sitting in the seat closest to the window and I had to get up and go to the bathroom, especially with my walking condition, I could barely get out of that seat. I had to like crawl over this thing and then crawl over this arm that wouldn't go up to the aisle. It was very difficult. They're very nice seats, but for somebody who has, I won't say we're handicapped, but a condition, it makes it more difficult,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're on our way. We both require wheelchairs now.
Oh yeah, we got
Yeah.
the wheelchairs. We got the wheelchairs, and they didn't care the fact that we could tap dance our way to the plane, but we took the wheelchairs, and they met us at the beginning of the airport, took us on the plane, and it was fine. And with them coming back, I called United to make sure that there was a wheelchair waiting for us because there wasn't one waiting for us when we got to Paris. And so that was the problem. But what happened was going back, I got them to meet us at the plane, and when we arrived at Newark, there they were, the two wheelchairs.
Beautiful.
It just made it a lot easier for us because we can walk. We could walk it if we had to, but it would be slow going, and by the end, we would be hurting and aching and everything else.
Well, let's just face it, we're old.
Yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
call it, Marjorie. You don't have to rub it in. So that
It
was
is what it is.
that was our trip, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a great vacation, but it was an adventure because there were a lot of things we did that were little adventures. And we went to the Eiffel Tower and we went to Notre Dame, as you saw if you watched the videos. And where else did we go? Yeah, we went to the Musée d'Orsay, but she wasn't feeling well, so we couldn't stay there that long. And I really love that museum. And I would have loved to go by and really, really soak in the Van Goghs and the Monets and the Manets and the mayonnaise. But she couldn't do it. She was.
I had the trots.
Oh,
Oh, Jesus.
TMI, too much information.
That's a shitty problem.
Yeah. Well, but she did go to the bathroom in the Musée d'Orsay. Problem was she didn't use the restroom. That was the problem. Very fancy. Very fancy. So we had little adventures, and we hobbled around, and I think
No lube.
if it were spring, we really would have been doing a lot better because the bones wouldn't be aching as much from the weather and so on. But it was a little adventure because Marjorie said, "Oh, for my birthday, take me to Paris." Okay, let's do 5 days over there. Boom. But if you do 5 days, you really want
Too
to
short.
5 days because you want to wake up, you want to enjoy it. I think I would have liked to have gotten on a train and gone down to the south of France and gone to
Yeah.
like Arles and so on. But that was our little trip, and I will say that we enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was our training trip.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, the terrible part here, other terrible part was the last time I saw you people, we didn't have an axe over our head
Yeah.
here in this country. And I went over there right after the great orangutan got elected, and I was a little depressed about it, but I didn't get depressed until I turned on my my what do you call iPad, and we watched Bill Maher. And just what they were talking about and how they were talking about it. And I finally said to myself, do I have to go through this for another 4 years? Do I have to go on that night show and every night talk about Donald Trump for the next 4 years? I've been talking about him for the last 10 years. Do I have to
Yep.
go another? So I wrote that thing that I put on my Facebook page about how I just said to myself, I just don't want to discuss Trump at all, period. I'll give him one night on the show, and then everything after that, there's a lot of other stuff in the world to talk about. The Archbishop of Canterbury, who just had to quit being the Archbishop of Canterbury. When does that happen? Not very often.
Mm-mm.
You don't care about it because we're Americans and screw them. But, nevertheless, there are a lot of things to talk about besides that. And before Trump, what did we talk about? You know, we talked
Yeah.
about fun stuff, and then we talked about stuff that affects us individually, like health care, which, as you all know, Don Giller desperately needs. I love.
Is he there?
But anyway, so I just got to this thing where I said, I really love the Monday show because it doesn't get political and we really don't have to talk about him. And so I think I've made a wise decision. I don't think talking about this guy. Oh, and also he won so overwhelmingly that no
Yeah.
matter how much we talk about it, we're not going to change anything. If I felt my show in some little way changed something, moved the needle, made it harder for him to become president, whatever, I would do it. But do that, you know? So
What a
I
shot.
talk about things you can't do something about and talk about things you can do something about,
Hmm.
and that makes it very beneficial to everyone concerned. Well, hello to all of you. And how are you doing, Don Giller? I should ask you. I was thinking today that I would call you up and say, let's get together for lunch. Started concentrating on what the answer might be.
I was outside your apartment all last week, and I had no idea where you were because someone had to feed the kitty. You know, I like your visit to the museum.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I like this. I like the fact, and you'll take this as an insult, but it's not meant to be, or maybe it is, that you were the tourists who knew nothing about the paintings, but still enjoyed looking at them. You
Well,
know what
I
I mean?
know I know a lot about Van Gogh's paintings. So, and that was the room basically. That's where Marjorie was sitting down. Was in the what I call the Van Gogh room. If there's nobody,
Good,
there were tons of
good.
people there too.
Good.
We went on a what Sunday. Uh, you sit down in this room, and there's nothing but Van Goghs all around you.
Wow.
You know, uh,
Do you know if they were the actual paintings and not reproductions? Because they seem awfully, well, no, because they seem awfully exposed.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
little
they
security.
allow you to get very close to them. There's a little wire
Yeah.
allowing you to go any further than a certain amount, but it's not like they gate it off and everything like that. You can kind of look at it and get close and see the brush strokes and thing.
there's nothing preventing some idiot to spray paint the paintings.
I wonder if I don't know if maybe they're covered with something.
Uh-oh, frozen.
You know, I didn't notice any glass in front of the paintings,
Yeah.
but they might have had some kind of non-glare glass that it covers it just in case somebody decided
Mhm.
to do that.
And that wire in front, I mean, is that if someone decides to walk over it, does that trip an
It
alarm?
probably does.
Yeah.
Nobody was trying, so I didn't get a chance to see if it does, but I'll bet it does. I can't imagine that they just, say, "Hey, hop over here and go steal a Van Gogh."
You got a pen? You know, sign it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd be more worried about somebody vandalizing it than trying to steal it.
Throw acid on it or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be some way they're preventing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're
But I like that footage. That was fun to watch.
Well, it's nice also because originally, if you watch it, it was live. So,
No, I couldn't get up that early.
Alex, can I ask you a question?
what?
Marjorie, what was your favorite meal there? Did you have a good meal? Did you have a meal that was kind of like
Every
over the
meal
top?
was good. We ate at a lot of local restaurants.
Yeah.
Nothing famous, and they were great.
We had a restaurant in the hotel, which was very good
Very, very good.
and not cheap, but not cheap. And then down the street, there was a kind of an inexpensive restaurant that was serving, had a whole menu that looked like you were at a diner here in New York, where you could get any amount of different things. And funny to say, but everything we ate in France was good.
Yeah.
And these weren't like high priced places or anything like that. It was just good because I think they cook differently there in that they use fresher foods. They don't use processed foods in their meals. They figure you're coming out to eat dinner, they've got to do something special for you, even though it's ham and eggs.
Italy was like that too. There's no preservatives in the food. It was wonderful. And
How
when
are the
it
French
says,
fries?
and when it says,
French fries, they had Archery had French fries.
Palm
What about
frites.
the language? Did
I
the
think
people
over
who
there, however, they're called pommes frites.
yes.
Yeah.
And when it says $12 on the or €12 on the menu, it's €12. No tax, no tip, no nothing.
Yeah.
It's one.
Yeah, I like to leave a tip. In some places it was the gratuity was added.
Oh,
Okay. And some places it wasn't, and there I left a tip, because I always tip,
they tell you to round up or a little bit or whatever, but that it's just not expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about
Well, yes, Don.
I'm sorry. What about the language? I mean, the people that were serving you the food, did they speak English, or were you
Most of them
French
spoke
enough?
English, some better than others,
The waitresses, not so much the people that bought the food.
Yeah, I mean, at the hotel, they spoke English. But for the most part, I felt that they spoke English okay, better than we spoke French.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Did they all know that you were a big shot?
They shot big, is what I called it.
Le shot.
Yes, yes. Charlene had her hand up.
We saw the onion soup, that was good, right? But did you have like any escargot or anything like that? You don't eat that stuff?
Everywhere you go, there is escargot.
Like Isle of Lucy, right?
Yeah, I didn't have any.
Well, that was Marjorie's problem.
Well,
Right. She was going, right?
escargot was invented by somebody who wanted to impress his girlfriend by saying, "Look what I'm going to eat."
Hmm.
Uh,
What other stuff did you have?
Because escargot really doesn't have a taste.
Right.
They add the taste. They add the garlic.
Like oysters, you just like slurp it down. Like.
It's just butter and garlic. That's all.
I
you
didn't
get.
eat
Well,
it.
whatever sauce comes with it is where you
Yeah.
get your taste.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And they had it at a lot of restaurants. I mean, even some of the cheaper ones we went to, there was escargot available. So, it's the French. They love their snails.
And they love their onion soup and they make it well.
That was good onion soup. That was great onion soup. And you wanted it because you were cold.
No, but I had it in a couple of other places.
Yeah. Now they're opening up Martin Notre Dame, I think the 8th of December, is it? Or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's funny, there's this like kind of like a grandstand that you can go sit at and just watch them work on the building. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there the week before it burned down,
Wow.
Wow.
Mm.
but I was gone when it was on fire, so don't get any ideas.
You have an alibi, yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
But Alex, when we were there the last time, it was before the fire.
oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's way before the fire. Years before the fire. You know. But it was nice to see the work they had done. They've just supposedly done an amazing job, and in 5 years, and the bells were bells rang when we didn't hear them, but when
They
we
were
arrived
testing
in
them.
Paris, at about the exact moment we arrived in Paris, they rang the bells at Notre Dame.
They were testing them.
That was the fire alarm.
They knew we were coming.
Quasimodo.
They
Yeah,
were welcoming you to France.
yeah.
I'm looking at the latitudes. New York is at 40.7 north, and Paris is at 48.8 north.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's why it was colder.
Yeah.
Or it may have been why it was colder.
It
Yeah.
was cold. It was
Basically,
cold.
the sun kind of went down at the same time. It's not that it's not that off. I'll tell you one thing I noticed about Paris this time. The first time I ever went to Paris, the French treated me like crap. I was an American, and I remember going. I was on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower, and they have a restaurant there. So I went into the restaurant. I sat down, and nobody would serve me. They just the waiters walking right by me. I go, just right by me. I found out later I was wearing a soccer shirt that was for a team that wasn't Paris. But but the first time I went there, they were kind of, I don't know, I didn't like the French that much, but this time they were wonderful.
Yeah.
And maybe they were wonderful because they weren't Americans, and they were different, and they were, you go into a place to have dinner, and they were so happy to accommodate you. And if they saw you had a cane, that was even more accommodating. So I mean, it was really very nice. The people
Alex,
just terrific.
Alex, when Candy and I went there in April, I came on the show that night, and one of the questions you asked me was, is Paris clean? And I'm super curious now that you've been there, what your response is to that.
Absolutely, it's clean.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
But they were getting ready for the Olympics. Okay, so that town was like buffed up to a nice shine,
And
you know.
it's-
And when we went there, I mean, I'll tell you the thing that I found that really amazed me, and I don't know if it amazed Marjorie, but since she's not here, she can't agree or disagree. But because of my condition now with the cane and so on, and the fact that it's not that I have trouble walking, I'm afraid of falling. All right. So I'm always looking down at the ground to see if there are cracks in the sidewalk. And of course, here in New York, the sidewalks are like a danger zone for somebody like me. In Paris, smooth as silk.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's where I saw a difference. I saw a difference in just the attitude of the people. I mean, they're so nice over there. I mean, Americans, I have to say this, have turned kind of ugly. And we're dealing with that every day. And I found over there the people were very nice. Now, granted, I was a tourist. I was at a hotel. I was, when we go into a restaurant, they had to know we were tourists because we didn't speak the language. But they treated us just wonderfully, and it looks like they treated each other wonderfully. And you know what I noticed also? I live here in Harlem at the intersection of Siren and Fire Truck.
Yeah.
And every day I put up with these sirens going by. And we went to Paris, and sirens were going by, but they're not annoying. They're the
What
klaxon.
sort of are they the tritone sirens?
What?
Are they the tritone sirens?
Well, it's called, I think they're called klaxon sirens, actually. They
Pardon
go,
me, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the tritone.
They don't have an irritating quality about them.
Well, the problem is you don't speak the language of the siren. If they translated it into English, you would have been annoyed.
It'd be triads.
Okay, yeah.
But you travel, you don't speak the language.
What I found was if we put those here in New York, we'd be a lot saner, you know.
There'd be a lot of Nazis.
Be a lot of what?
Nazis.
French Nazis?
Yeah, well, every time you hear that kind of a siren, you think of Germans coming to yeah. But you ever been to Paris, Paula?
Yeah. I had the great privilege when Joel and I it was almost like a honeymoon, really. We were married a year and we spent the entire summer, 10 weeks, going all over Europe. And my memories of Paris are amazing.
Nobody walks away from Paris not saying that isn't maybe the most beautiful city in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's something about Paris, and I'm not saying Paris is for lovers.
But you know what? I remember one thing, and that was that the couples that were kissing along the Seine, a lot of them were American. You know, it's like it's like they got into the spirit of the time. You know?
It's just
a very romantic city.
And it was all non-consensual.
Romantic city, and it's charm. And I have to say, you know, I was really impressed by the people, you know, and especially coming from a country that has gotten rather ugly lately. To see people not be ugly. I mean, they all seemed happy.
Because they're not here.
Anybody watched 60 Minutes last night?
No.
Yeah.
And they had a thing called an extra 30 minutes with 60 Minutes. They ran this thing about this country called Bhutan, I think it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a paradise.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. You been there?
Mm-hmm.
What did you go to there? It was so unknown as a country.
It's a long story, but there was a tool that we were manufacturing for harvesting that we were promoting to the government there. I was there for 2 days.
They created a thing called gross national happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the king said, I now want everybody to be happy. That's got to be our main product, happiness. And he then turned it over to his son, who's doing the same thing. And supposedly it's just a wonderful place. And they're having to go through changes because they're getting bigger and whatever. And they haven't met any of the roadblocks they thought they would wind up coming across, because they've still lived out the spirit of this happiness national product, you know. So it's great. So it's nice to see countries that are nice, you know. And I could have stood to stay over there about another, I don't know, 5 years maybe. You know, not necessarily in Paris, but you know, we're thinking of finding a house somewhere. And then when the 3 months, 6 months are up that your visa runs out in most of these countries, just come back here for the amount of time that we have to stay here, and then go back to wherever. So
there's lots of countries, Alex, at your age that you can get a permanent visa very easily. Seriously. Portugal is one that's very easy to get a retirement. Spain. Yeah, it's not difficult to do that. You wouldn't have to come back.
Yeah. And I could probably do my shows from there.
Since the election, I've gotten 5 job offers in other countries saying, now that you're ready to leave the country, come work for us.
God.
I'd probably, if the
Supposedly,
if the
Canada has been getting a lot of inquiries.
yeah, what's crazy on YouTube, I watch a lot of different stuff. 2 days after the election, my feed completely shifted to how to become an expatriate, and I've never once looked at a video of that. Every video is about how to move to different countries, stories of people who did it, how to buy real
Well,
estate,
you know
and
something, you always say, "Well, I'm going to leave the country," and then you never do.
I've never said it.
Oh,
I am saying it now. If the
any
midterms
number
don't
of
go the
times
right
in my
way, I am going to
lifetime,
leave
and I
again.
never went to another country.
I did. I left for 10 years. I was gone.
Well, let's talk to somebody here who lives in another country, Georgia.
That's one of the places. That's one of the places they tell you to move, but not the Georgia in the U.S. The other Georgia, you can live like a king in Tbilisi or whatever the hell the name of that city is.
How are the spirits going down there, Mandy?
I don't know. I don't really talk to anybody.
I don't blame you. I feel the same way.
You know, the thing that bothers me about the election was that, I said to in my thing, and I said to Marjorie, I said, you realize when we go back, every other person we meet is an asshole. You know, I mean, it's true. It's just true. You know, they say, now I've said something. Please bear with me. Don't think I'm a Robert Kennedy Jr. or anything.
Oh, Jesus.
Democrats are afraid to say this. All the hosts on MSNBC, which is a propaganda central for left wingers, well, not for left wingers, for liberals, okay, is too afraid to say it. But I said it to some friends the other night on a Zoom call that we did. I said, I just have a funny feeling this election was rigged.
I agree.
Everybody here would agree with that statement that maybe there was a chance it was rigged. Raise your hand.
I can share with you why it was.
Huh?
I don't know.
The micro targeting from big data that was going on with that money that Elon Musk put in the campaign. The evidence is clear. If you were through your social media, if you were a person who supported, for example, Palestinian rights, you were getting from his PAC a video of Kamala Harris basically telling you that she only loves Israel and the Palestinians can go to hell, and the other way around. Yeah. If you were a Latino man, you were getting all sorts of social media feeds about being a man and not letting women tell you what to do that weren't even political ads. The $75 million, everything that came out of that PAC was micro-targeting markets in specific demographics.
How many of those ads were using AI to put words in Kamala?
Almost all of them. And they were all happening in ways that you and I wouldn't see because we're not in that bubble. It wasn't targeting people who were affiliated. It was targeting people that were in that maybe will, maybe won't vote. Yeah. The swing voters all got micro-targeted. It's amazing the level of psych ops that were run on this election to get people to vote against their best interests. And people, the level of buyer's regret from people who are realizing it's incredible.
But I've actually seen like real cheating. Like people are claiming that there was real cheating, like because of Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Like his systems were used to actually mess with the actual systems. And that's where I'm like, oh, do we want to go down that road? Because that's what was being said 4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they know that people won't because the Democrats accuse the Republicans about being crazy about it in the past.
Well, that's why I'm saying that none of these people like MSNBC are willing to dump into that little pond and talk about maybe it was fixed, it was rigged.
Right.
Yeah. I just think it's crazy that he's pardoning Madoff to make him the Department of the Treasury head. So,
I mean, I was watching. We were watching a very smart guy on PBS today talking with Walter Isaacson on Amanpour's show, and he was very good. Marjorie will agree. It was she was riveted to what the guy was saying. It was basically that the same thing I said before the election that she wasn't targeting some of the most important people that never get targeted, and that's like the hillbillies in the Ozarks. They may be hillbillies, but they can still go in and vote. And that there was a whole bunch of people that the Democrats didn't target because the Democrats have become somewhat elite, and if they're pushing, they want to get to the college educated crowd. Well, that's not going to get you elected in America anymore. And it's the non-college educated crowd who feels disenfranchised from the rest of the country. And so Trump was their boy, and that made that was kind of what I was saying before the election, wasn't it, Marjorie?
Yeah.
It's going after the wrong people. She was blind to those people. She didn't know they existed practically, but Trump did. He saw them out there every day. Trump saw a bunch of people with Trump flags on Trump cars driving down the street with these oversized, and saying, those are my people. Well, no, they really weren't his people. He grew up privileged in New York City, but he knew those were the people he had to go after. So,
I think they love those rallies. I was thinking about it, and I think that, could have been a good thing to do. Those crazy rallies.
Weren't rallies, those were comedy shows.
Yeah.
Right. But the people liked it. They thought it was entertainment, right? Like,
I'm
what
glad
is
this
that,
isn't
bread and
Ramble.
circuses?
What were you going to say, Don?
I'm glad this isn't Ramble.
Right. It's so political today.
Well, we're not, okay, stop. Everybody, we'll just stop.
Thank you.
We'll just stop.
Here, I'll change the subject, Alex. I don't know if I'm sure you must remember these two.
Let's face it. The reason we talked about it, Don, and I wanted to talk about it here, is because everybody wants to get it off their chest.
The reason you
got
want
it
to
off
talk about it.
your
But
I
some-
thought we were.
my
I thought we were talking about it to annoy Don.
Huh?
Wasn't that from the email you sent me? Talk about politics so Don gets annoyed? Did I
I
misread that?
I had a friend barking at me like, why didn't the Democrats do this? And they should have done this and did it. And I'm like, it's like victim blaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
They're all
why
gloating. They're gloating.
why is it our fault? I'm like, of course it's our fault. They're going to find a way to blame it on the Democrats that Trump's president. Can we not blame the actual people that voted for him?
I mean, you see, this is not political, Don.
Oh, no, of course not.
It's not. No, this is not political. But what I hated when I was watching TV, American TV over there, like Bill Maher, was the piling on Kamala.
Right.
It
It's
was
annoying.
like, she's a loser. Okay, now let's pile on her. We lost.
She was the candidate for 100 days. She did the best she could.
Yeah.
But again, it's like when the place goes to hell and it's burning to the ground, it's going to be, well, the Democrats just screwed up, and it's all their
They
fault.
also have to blame somebody,
But
and
they can't blame the people that actually voted for him.
how many days did they love this woman? 100 days they loved this woman, and all of a sudden the next day they all hate her.
I didn't. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, come
I
on,
still like her.
she probably feels like crap,
Yeah.
That's
I uninvited her to
Is it,
Thanksgiving.
Are you talking about just the pundits?
Huh?
Are you talking about the people in the media, the pundits and stuff?
Yeah.
Everybody's a Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, everybody, yeah. Suddenly they realized why it went wrong. Well, why didn't you tell us ahead of time?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's nice to see you people again. I missed you. So did Marjorie.
I felt like I was with
today
you
because she
with
still
the
got jet
posts.
lag. What?
I felt like I was with you with all those posts. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I loved seeing
Yeah.
your videos. That was
And
great.
I saw the Eiffel Tower, and it looked so beautiful when you photographed it.
Yeah,
I've never
I
seen
didn't
it
bring
like
my
that.
selfie stick, which I should have done because I was having a lot of trouble, holding the camera. And I got a cane and I got a camera and I'm trying to shoot with.
No, it was great, Alex. It was great.
Hey, when you're at the Eiffel Tower, I know it was cold that day. I know it was really cold, so it was a really quick day. But did you guys see, basically right at the base of it on the one side, there were all those vendors? There was the place that you could go to. There's like a market, an outdoor market there.
We didn't wind up there.
You didn't end up in there? Okay. All right.
Yeah. But I got to say, we could have gone up because the lines weren't long at all. You know, it was like a Monday or Tuesday, and I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday, and we could have gone right. I think it would have taken us maybe 10 minutes to stand in line to get a ticket, and go up. So, but Marjorie was too cold, so
It was freezing, and the wind was rapping.
well, it wasn't freezing. The wind was whipping around now.
And it wasn't going to be any warmer on top of the Eiffel Tower.
No,
No, but it would have been warmer. I'll tell you why. Because on the second level, the first level, there's a restaurant in there, and we could go in, sit there, see Paris all around us, and have a bite to eat, and she wouldn't be cold at all. She'd be very warm. But unfortunately, we didn't get that far because well, we gotta go. It's too cold. I'm getting cold. My back's killing me. Let's go. So
But as someone, it was a nice image seeing it, on top of you.
oh yeah, the image from below and you shoot up. It's just I think that's one of the most incredible places in the world, objects in the world, and it's going to be even better once they put up the sheetrock.
Did you guys do a river cruise? Like, did you see the Statue of Liberty?
No. We saw people on these boats going down the Seine, and Marjorie's remark was, "How can they do that? It's freezing."
Yeah, we did it. It was warm. It was nice.
Well, if we go in spring, it'd be very nice. Be perfect.
I loved that.
Birds
I love seeing
chirping,
Statue of Liberty. I loved it.
You love the Statue of Liberty?
Seeing it in France, seeing the one in Paris.
It's like a model of it or
Yeah.
something. Right?
Well, it's
Where is that exactly?
And it's the old version. It's on
his phone.
It's right on the Seine. Yeah.
Right off of Staten Island.
It is
right.
I've never seen it. I know there's over the underpass where Princess Di died.
It's near there.
Huh?
It's near there.
So there's the flame from the torch.
Yeah.
On a pedestal there.
Yep.
And when Marjorie and I were riding around, going away from the Eiffel Tower back to the hotel, we hit an underpass, and I said, "I think this is the one she got. She bit the dust on."
Alex?
Somebody had their hand raised.
Me, there's a relationship between Eiffel because he did the armature. Am I correct? Inside the Statue of Liberty.
It did all the inside stuff.
Yeah, that holds it up or something.
Scaffolding.
Right.
The infrastructure.
Infrastructure, right.
Yeah. He did that. Yeah. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant, but it was you had a good time, didn't you, Marjorie?
Yeah.
Okay. She's excited.
Didn't he later make those golden arches for McDonald's too?
You're thinking
Very
the St.
good.
Louis
Very,
Arch.
very good.
No,
Andy.
I sat there and looking at the Eiffel Tower and going, how do you even think this up? Because to begin with, the structure of it is very solid and well thought out, and it's basically a big, huge thing of scaffolding.
Mescaline.
They were going to drill for oil.
But it also is an object that is so distinct and so sculpturally
iconic, right?
Iconic and beautiful. How do you combine those two things? If you're Eiffel and because he constructed bridges and stuff, that was his big thing. How do you suddenly build something that is so aesthetically pleasing? Although the Parisians didn't like it when he first put it up. They looked at it as a piece of junk he just put on the side of the Seine.
Oh, interesting.
And they were going to tear it down after 20 years.
Wow.
20 years came, they went, we can't tear this down. be a terrible thing to tear this down. So it's been there now for what, 100 years, something like that? You know, amazing.
What about the Arc de Triomphe? That I was blown away by that. I thought I was going to be underwhelmed, and it turned out I was blown away by it.
We didn't go there, but I've been there on several occasions. You know, sometimes you just have somebody drive you up the Champs-Élysées, and there it is. You know,
35 years.
The difference,
I don't know, 135 years
when it was completed. Yeah.
the difference is if they had built those two things here in the U.S., they would have put a zip line for tourists to go between them.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a neat documentary about reconstructing Notre Dame Cathedral. Talk about engineering. Those guys, I mean, it was a worldwide effort with a lot of people coming from foreign countries and contributing their expertise. And it's amazing to think about what we can do as human beings. It's, you know,
they had pictures around it of all the craftsmen and skill workers that were involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing about it is that it's really, you know, it's really it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I always loved Notre Dame. The first time I went in, there was an organ playing. They were holding a service and choirs were singing. And I went, where do I sign up to become a Catholic?
absolutely, absolutely.
No, but the thing is that they originally decided there was a fight between everybody. Should we, when we do Notre Dame, should we modernize it or should we restore it? And the harder thing to do is restoring it, because you got to bring in craftsmen and who know their kind of work, you know, and how to build buttresses the same way. They replaced all of that, all the stuff that burned, with more wood.
Wow.
So,
from very particular forests as well.
Yes, from the same particular forest where they did the original, and they then did stuff to the wood so it won't burn.
Oh, fireproof it, like, yeah.
But that gave it an aesthetic that equaled the old Notre Dame Cathedral. By the way, you know where Andy is going. He's going to teach women how to be stronger and beat up their husbands.
I should hope so.
Yeah. How are you doing, Francine? You haven't said anything today.
No, I'm fine. I've never been to Europe.
No?
Never been to Europe.
You know, you live in New York.
In New York City, but I'm planning to go in late May. This is very tentative right now, but it's like a writers group, and we're going to go all around Europe on the train. So that's going to be kind of an adventure.
That is the best way to see Europe, without question.
It's like going to be like 15 cities or something, and we'll be in Paris for 3 days and London for 3 days. So I'm nervous because, you know, I've never been there, but
when I first moved to New York, I never had been to Europe, obviously, because I lived in California. If you lived in California, you want to maybe go into Hawaii, you know, and anybody would say, have you ever been to a foreign country? Yeah, I've been to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But it was too difficult because you had to go on the other ocean. You had to go across the whole country first. But when you live in New York, the first thing I did was go to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then I went to Spain and I went to here and I went to there, you know, and but one thing that does, I think that every American should be given a free trip to Europe or to anywhere that isn't America. Because once they do that, their whole perception of the world changes. You know, it wasn't until my first trip over there that I immediately said to myself, yeah, there is more to this world than just, you know, New York City.
It's that when you said that about New York, that's true, because my daughter lives in New York in September. She went and visited her roommate that she started out in New York with, who's British. and she
Well-
had moved back to England, so she
Yeah.
went to visit her. And she's like, "Yeah, I got it for like $500." It was
I
just, it
feel
was like
I,
easier and cheaper to fly from New York.
You
I
all,
feel inconvenienced if I have to go to Brooklyn. Well, I really do. I feel like what's in Brooklyn? Like, why do I have to go there? I don't like to leave Manhattan.
Brooklyn's kind of nice now.
You know,
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay.
it's really quite nice.
But
And
I'm
there's a
very.
great and there's a great view of Manhattan from from Brooklyn.
It's true. That is true.
We'll have
Yeah.
you pack a bag, and Marjorie and I'll pick you up and take a lift over there. Okay?
Okay.
You know, if you want to
I know
stay
exactly
there,
how she feels.
hotel. Yeah.
And my daughter went to Paris too when she was on that trip, and
Oh,
that was
really?
that was her favorite part.
Have you ever been? You've been to Europe, haven't you?
No, I haven't. So my
I mean,
daughter,
it
both of my kids
changes-
have, and I
you do
haven't.
it. Mandy, you should do it because it changes your whole perception.
I know I want to go, but yeah, but Paris was definitely her favorite part.
And it's not that there's anything about the people or anything else, but they're wonderful now. And they treat each other wonderfully. It's not that really as much as just going someplace that isn't here. That's so different. I mean, first thing I said to myself, the first place I ever went was England, because that's where Americans usually go, because you think they speak your language. But somebody once said, correct me if I'm wrong, Giller, that really, if you're in Britain and they speak to you, they're not speaking your language.
Why do you ask me that?
Huh?
Why do you ask me that?
I don't know, because you're the one that first will say, no, you're full of crap.
I'm the obnoxious one, but I know when to keep quiet.
It's two similar countries divided by a common language.
Really? Was that Churchill said that?
No, it was me just now.
Well, when you said that about going to a different country or like going somewhere you haven't been, I felt like when I went to New England, I was going to another country because I've lived in Georgia my whole life. So, and I've traveled some, but mostly in the Southeast. I've been to California a couple times, and I've been to New York, but just New England, it was so cool to go somewhere else that was just completely different looking than Georgia, and the people were different.
And the thing with Europe, though, Mandy, is each region is its own culture, its own thing.
Yeah.
And if you go to just one, like just France or whatever, you don't get a real feel for how different the cultures are. And then head to South America, to the places that used to be scary and dangerous that are now paradise.
Yeah.
It's, everywhere you go is something different.
Mm-hmm.
And screws with that whole "we're number one" nonsense that's beaten into our
I
heads.
know. I know.
Mike Chisholm's got his hand up.
It's
sorry.
funny you say that, Mandy, because I've thought this a couple of times, not just this conversation, but other episodes as well. Growing up, whenever I would go to the US, I always felt the exact same way that you just said. Like, I feel like I go to Washington quite a bit. That was the first place I would go to, is Washington State, because it's right below where I am. But then the first time I go to California, it's like, oh my God, this is completely different than Washington State.
I know.
Montana is completely different. New York is completely different. I've spent time in Georgia. I've spent time in Texas. All complete. It's. I've always had the perception that America is a whole bunch of cultures all into one, and it presents that way when you go and visit the different parts of it.
Well, it's also 50 different countries.
Just
Where are you, Mike? Where do you live?
Western Canada. Yeah.
Up near Spokane.
Great, man.
I want to go there so bad. I want to go to Vancouver. California. I love California. I wish it wasn't so expensive.
I've only been to Canada once, I think. I went to the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Yeah, well, that'd be a great time.
Yeah.
That'd be a great time. Vancouver's a great city, though. It's a fantastic city.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, people are, I mean, but we really don't really think of ourselves this way. But, if you go from one state to another, it's a whole different culture. It's a different country.
Yes.
Well, Mike, where you live in Kelowna, it's a beautiful city, and it's very different than Vancouver. It's a different culture.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree with that. But there's a lot of things that are common to it though at the same time. Like Vancouver's close to the ocean, right? So they're really, really mild. I get snow here and I got world-class skiing. You don't have to drive all the way to Whistler for it. I got it 45 minutes from my house. Lots of lake stuff and things like that. So yeah, it is different, but there's a lot of commonalities there too. But I look at California and Texas, and you might as well be in two like completely different orbits. And I love both of them, by the way. I think both have their own charms and amazing things, but very, very different.
Take Texas, where Charlie lives, and compare that to, Midland. They're two different countries.
Don't forget Scott Boddicker lives in Texas too. And Scott, it's Texas, when I moved there and lived there, kind of is almost another country because it thinks of itself as another country.
I wish it was another country.
When the statute of limitations run out, you can move back there, Alex.
Exactly.
And my daughter lives in Texas, my older daughter, and the day after the election, I kind of shot out a text like "love y'all," like hugs, like we were crying. And Mackenzie, my one that lives in New York, just in the group text said, and excuse my French, she goes, "How the fuck did Ted Cruz get elected?" And my older was like, "For real, I know. I'm in mourning right now. We should have never bought a house here." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But it was just
I don't want to get political again, but maybe.
No, I just thought that was funny. I was just like,
is that a French word?
Cruz?
Yeah. Listen, I gotta tell you something before we call this to a close. Every time we're on, I always say, "Has anybody seen any good movies?"
Thelma.
Marjorie and I put on a movie the other night because it just looked interesting because it had an actress named June Squibb, I think is her name.
Yeah.
Jane Squibb.
Judy.
She was in that film Nebraska. And I think she was nominated for an Academy Award for it, but she's 94 years old and she just starred in a film called Thelma.
Good.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Is it not wonderful?
It's Richard Roundtree right before he died. What's funny is she plays a 93-year-old and she's actually 95. So she was, type. It was an ageist movie. But it's a good movie.
It's a great little film. It's about this woman who is sitting at home, old woman at 94, and she gets a telephone call. And it's one of the telephone calls. Marjorie got caught in this about a year ago, 2 years ago, where she got a call from supposedly her boss from Hong Kong, who was here in town. And he said, "I've been arrested and I need to get myself out of jail."
Mm-hmm. It says here her grandson.
Huh?
It says here, I'm looking at
In the movie, she gets a call that her grandson just had a horrible accident and is in jail and needs to be bailed out. And so she sends them $10,000 and then realizes when her grandson shows up at her front door, this is some kind of a scam. Mm-hmm. She decides at 94 that she's going to go find these people and get her money back. And it's a delightful film. It's a delightful film about growing old. It doesn't make fun of old people. It just makes fun of the things that old people have to put up with when they're older. And
is it on Apple TV or something? Where is it, Alex?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Thelma.
I know there's tons of Elvis documentaries, but there's one on Netflix I just watched last night that I thought was pretty good.
What, a documentary?
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's the one that Priscilla Presley produced.
Oh, okay. And
it focuses on the 68 special, and like it starts with that.
The comeback, yeah.
Yeah, comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other one to watch is this new Day of the
Elvis
Jackal.
Always remains amazingly interesting, doesn't he?
I just love him. I mean, he's just a treasure.
Me too.
You can't? You say, Charlene, you can't?
Oh, no, I said I like Elvis too. I said me too.
It is. I wasn't crazy about Elvis, but it's just that his life was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was another place I visited in the United States of America. Graceland.
Yeah, I was there.
Is it creepy?
Oh, it's great.
Oh,
It's great.
you
You
know?
think it's going to be creepy, but it's like you go in and you go, Elvis lived here. Like it just hits you.
No, it's Elvis is buried here. You see the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If in fact he's there, I don't know.
And his plane, his airplane, and
Did somebody try to dig him up once?
Yes, yeah, that's why he's at Graceland.
I remember in France, somebody stole Charlie Chaplin's remains.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And held them for ransom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Family Feud, that was the number one answer. Name a celebrity who's dead that everybody thinks is alive.
Elvis.
Whatever.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Biden.
Everybody's dumping on Joe. Jeez.
No, I'm not dumping on Joe. Come on, I'm older than Joe. I respect his age. Hey, listen, you watch. He's going to be the president no more. And you watch how well he starts getting. He's starting to look more rested than he was before.
Yeah.
That job takes a lot out of you. Look at Obama, how gray his hair is now.
Right.
Well, people say, you know something, he really has aged while he's been president. Yeah, he's been president for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
8 years is, even if he wasn't president, he'd be gray now. So, I mean, look at Charlie. Look at John Ewing, little gray hair there. Let's see here. Who else? Who isn't coloring their hair? Come on. Oh,
I would be great if I didn't color mine.
yeah.
I'm
not
coloring
coloring
mine.
mine.
you don't color yours?
No, I've wanted gray hair since I was in my 20s, and it won't come. I'm pissed off about it.
And
I color mine gray to get some respect.
That's why I
It doesn't work.
I know.
Mike, you don't color your hair? How old are you?
48.
Yeah. He's young.
Okay, all right.
Child,
Yeah, no.
Youngin'.
I've wanted it forever, but no.
Yeah.
youngin.
Do you color your hair, Mandy?
Yes.
Okay. See?
Oh yeah.
Marjorie colors hers.
Mm.
So she get respect, just like you said.
I gotta be at least 60 before I
Yeah.
start letting go.
People are going gray though now. They're allowing themselves to go gray.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
fashionable, yeah.
COVID did that.
It's not as it's fashionable, but it may, you get older, just let when you try to fight age, it looks worse.
No, but COVID did that, and it affected women from the 30s on the way up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I started
I could
going
just
gray when I was
imagine,
30.
Gray
the level
is
of
good.
ridicule if I showed up at work with black hair. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I could color mine, but nobody would notice the difference. No.
With spray paint.
Marjorie, you shave my head every,
Yeah, but you don't leave a tip.
What?
There.
I don't tip.
Don't leave it
You never touch it. Anyway, I'll leave. You'll all be laughing later about that joke. Okay.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't seem to be laughing at it at all.
Well, I never said it was funny, but I got it.
Are you and I going to have lunch?
Today. Let's do it today.
It's 5:00.
It's Monday.
I get up late.
I would love to see what you look like in person.
You're going to be disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've got the beauty filter on your Zoom.
Yeah. Now, I've developed an enormous belly that I'm not proud of.
Well, I'm not proud of mine either.
Yeah, but that's your tummy, not mine.
Why aren't we proud of our tummies? After all, are we trying to get laid at this point? Does it really matter?
Time to go.
I mean, I say to Marjorie, do I look fat to you? And she goes, no, you look fine. And I like her lying to me all the time. I mean,
Not
we
the
voted for
same.
somebody that lies all the time, so why can't I live with somebody who lies all the time?
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, hey, this has been nice. Hey, are you satisfied that the main topic of the show was not politics?
All things considered, I think we did quite well.
I think we did quite well. Yes. And I was going to talk about politics today only because I think we didn't deal with this when I left because it hadn't happened yet. And I think people just want to get it off their chest.
Elephant in the room.
Huh?
Yeah.
Who's the elephant in the room?
Elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I just like to have it stew inside until I stress out.
I'm just going to stick my head in the sand for the next 4 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
4 years.
Old news, friends. Old news.
Marjorie, thank you so much for joining me. What's for dinner tonight?
Surprise.
We're going out, so it doesn't really matter.
We're going out for dinner with
Doesn't matter.
Mr. Giller. Yeah. But I really, Don, I would like to meet up with you someday for lunch.
As would I. I'd like to meet up with myself as well.
You don't have to take me back to I'd meet you at your place, but I don't think you want to let anybody in there.
Are you well? I mean, I tell people if anybody wants to stay here, they're welcome as long as they can sleep vertically.
I've been there twice. It's awesome.
Have you been into his place?
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you let you oh.
I didn't invite him.
Oh.
He barged in.
He just showed up.
He just showed up.
Yeah, well, I'll just show up. How's that?
All right.
I don't know.
No,
but
I have a long story, but it's 7:00, so we can save it.
He's a typical person in New York has been living in an apartment so long that he'll never be able to move out of it.
Right. Too much stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent the summer cleaning the place out.
Did you really?
And didn't make a dent.
Really? Well, I've told Marjorie we're going to start with one room and then go to another room. I mean, stuff builds up.
Well, what you do is you
Sure it
transfer
does.
all the crap from one room to the other
Yeah.
to clean it up. And once it's cleaned up, you
move it back.
turn all that crap back in.
Yeah.
Which I'm sort of in the middle of.
Oh, I've said I'm going to tear down this entire studio and put it back together again so the wires aren't all over the place. But I find that when I do that, when I finally pull all the wires out and I pull everything else out, I clean everything up and everything, then I plug everything back in, I look down at the floor and there's a rat's nest of wires.
Or just a rat's nest.
Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us today. You had no choice. Scott Boddicker, good to see you. Second time in a row for this weekly show. I think you were here last week, weren't you? Yeah.
Oh, the week before last week, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wasn't here last week. Excuse me.
Where were you?
We're trying to wrap it up. Come on.
So you went to Paris on my page? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Scott. Thank you to Paula. Good to see you, Paula, up there in
Wherever.
Ohio. Let's see here. Oh, Francine Witt. Thank you. Thank you to Len Lafrisco. And of course, Charlene Solis. Always nice to have you here. John Ewing out there in Nevada, California. Thank you for being here. Charlie Wallace. Good seeing you, Charlie. We'll see you probably on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, Andy. Nice having you here, taking us on. You're a good driver too. I can see that. Yeah.
Thanks.
And of course, Don Giller. Oh, gee, Don. We must have lunch together sometime.
Let's do it today.
Charlie Martinez, thank you. And thanks to Mike Chisholm as well. Everybody, let's look over at Edward Berger, because Edward Berger traditionally signs his show off by saying,
"That's all, folks."
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
Good week.
Bye.